Hello and welcome to Keys to Victory for the upcoming week in Pro League NA, and we're going to take on the hot match between Liquid and Renegades and see what the respective teams have to do in order to get a W in their column. So, Harry, I believe that you have picked a team that you kind of are backing in this scenario here. Not
just in this scenario, in every scenario. No? There's never a scenario where I don't back the boys.
The boys.
That's what I've come to know and love. I figured, I would kind of have a bit of a privilege doing it with you, seeing as Jacob has now joined this roster.
Yeah.
Of course, he came in to replace Naf, and those aren't easy boots to fill. But he's been doing a pretty good job of it, Recently, across the multiple events we've kind of got to see him at. Star Series, I think, was his first performance there on the LAN with them, and he's looked stellar. So a lot of this is going to really come down to whether or not he can step up, but I think he's going to be more than able to.
Yeah, and it's funny you should mention, obviously, the swap that happened between Liquid and Renegades, with Naf, the former star of Renegades, moving on to Liquid, and that's the team that I am kind of eyeing towards in this matchup. Obviously, you could talk about them potentially being the best team in North America now, which is kind of weird. You had Cloud9 winning the major, but Team Liquid constantly performing and actually giving us consistent results from their side. So for me, kind of leaning towards that end. They've been playing well so far in Pro League, undefeated, looking pretty nice up to this point. But as you mentioned, Jacob has filled the boots of Nav pretty well, and I think even has mentioned the fact that it wasn't the biggest blow in the world, which kind of sounds kind of weird for us on the outside. But
yeah, I mean, everyone kind of thought, right, when he departed, then that could be it for this Renegades roster. But no, Jacob has been stepping up. And, we kind of look at their performance as Star Series. It was their first placement in a Tier 1 event. That was fantastic from them. They managed to make it through to the playoffs. They get knocked out in the first round, but still, they did good there. I think in their run, we saw them take wins versus Fnatic, Heroic, and Tyloo, I think, were the three teams they were able to beat. Of course, Fnatic now the champions.
Katowice champions, yeah.
Katowice.
Yeah, not a bad run at all. And obviously, they went to Katowice as well.
I was trying not really to bring that one up. But, I mean, they still did good. The matchups kind of felt a bit awful for them. They started off versus Astralis, the previous winners of IEM Katowice. Then moving into it, they were able to beat Avangar. And I think it was Cloud9 who finished them off. So, at least they went into it, and then kind of got derailed by the major champions. What more can you do?
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily the worst defeat in the world. They did get a map off of Cloud9 as well. But as for Liquid, they also went to Katowice and did fairly well, I'd say, making it to semifinals, eventually losing to Fnatic, who would be crowned champions there. And again, that goes into with what we've talked about, how Liquid have been just reliable performers really through and through with this new lineup. And speaking of that new lineup, obviously we mentioned Naf being new to the roster, but Steel as well. The Brazilian flair on that side is also a fairly new addition to the squad, and he definitely brings a lot of experience and a bit of a different take on Counter-Strike from what we're used to seeing in a North American squad, which I think is also going to be beneficial in the long run. So for me, I've got Liquid all the way.
I'm gonna have to disagree. For me, there is one way, and that's the Norway mixed with the USA way. There's a couple of different ways actually, but they all culminate into one way, and that is the way of the boys. So that's my prediction for this.
Well, there we have it. All we can do is wait and see how it's all going to play out. So tune in next week as we have the hot match between Liquid and Renegades ready to go.